I was a big Martha Stewart devotee. So Martha Stewart, she had barred rocks and, she had like this big garden. So that's why I have a potager garden because, Martha was my idol. And then she had chickens. So I had to get the barred rocks because they were so pretty. And I wanted chickens and my husband was very much against it. So one day I happened to meet a couple of women in Highland Park that had chickens. And we got together for lunch and I came home and I was like giddy. So we got the chickens. And I don't know, it's just really interesting. I mean, people have different reasons for getting them. People want them, for the food because what you put into your chicken is what you're getting out of your chicken. You're getting a very healthy food stream. People want them, to teach their kids things. But I got them because of Martha Stewart. We have an organization in Pittsburgh called Pittsburgh Pro-Poultry People, P4. And we organized ourselves back in 2009-10 after the city of Pittsburgh passed an ordinance about chickens and beekeeping in the city. It was very restrictive. You had to go in for a zoning variance. You had to pay $250, $270 for the zoning variance. You had to go before the zoning board for a full zoning hearing. So what we were seeing is we had about a 50% fail rate for people that went in. And the big things that we hear about chickens is noise. In the city, we don't permit a rooster. The other thing that people are afraid of is smell from the chicken manure. And like dogs, if you don't clean up after your dog, that's going to smell too. So it's more of a nuisance factor. And, there are mechanisms in place in the city where, nuisance property, if you're not taking care of your chicken, you're not taking care of your dog, it smells, the neighbors can complain and, it can be addressed that way. The other thing for some reason people are afraid of is that their property values would go down if the neighbor had chickens. And I never quite understood that thought process, and I'm not sure how you get people over that thought process. But we haven't been able to come up with any kind of study that supports that your property values go down if your neighbors have chickens. So, and a lot of it's education and just getting people to understand that chickens aren't going to peck your eyes out and bees aren't going to swarm your children. So we worked with Berg's Bees, we worked with Grow Pittsburgh here in the city, and we worked with Pittsburgh Planning, and we worked on some legislation which we had passed then this year, and it's much more favorable. You're allowed to have chickens and bees as a right. You have to go in and get a permit, or a license rather, which costs $71, so it's much more favorable. Here, baby Huey. Come on. You're done? Okay. The benefit of chicken keeping is, well, if you have a family and children, I think it's a great thing to teach your kids about where food comes from. It also teaches children responsibility because, somebody has to let the chickens out in the morning and close them up at night and feed and water them. They're great fun. I mean, they're very amusing. Nothing like at the end of a hard day taking a glass of wine and watching their shenanigans, because they have like a whole pecking order and they're just really a lot of fun. They do a great job of eating bugs in the garden. They do a great job of creating fertilizer for your garden. And I'm telling you, the entertainment value is really great. I really like them for entertainment.